In this video, you are going to learn exactly what happens to your body after having cold showers for 21 days in a row. I'm going to be exposing myself to cold showers for 21 days straight and see how it makes me feel both in the body and in the mind. If you haven't hit that like and subscribe button, be sure to give it a good whack so you can be notified about all the great health tips that I provide from a week-to-week basis. Oh, and at the end, please stay tuned because I'm going to have a really handy tip that is going to accelerate your health journey to cold exposure. You're going to be able to ramp things up at a really serious level. You're not going to need ice baths. You're not going to need any expensive things. It's a pretty much free strategy that you can utilize no matter what. Some of the many benefits included in cold exposure are things like improved energy and focus, building resilience and grit, enhancement of your mood, as well as increased metabolism and fat loss. I'm also going to take you through an understanding of how to approach this method in an unintimidating fashion. So many people blow the cold exposure world out of proportion and they think about the most extreme version of what they need to step into when they're at the beginning of the process. I'm going to uncover a blueprint that is going to allow you to do this step by step in baby steps. So by the end of the 21-day period, you're going to be a cold exposure expert without even feeling like you have actually done this in any extreme fashion at all. I've been able to use this method as well as many others to be able to assist hundreds of parents to gain energy, lose weight, and absolutely slay it at work in my Hero program. So please enjoy the content, enjoy all the tips. This is for you to be able to enjoy and be the best version of yourself. Here we are, party people. The first installment of 5 by 21. This is going to be really easy. In fact, the intention is to make it as easy as possible. The first week is going to be for 1 minute. The second week is going to be for 2 minutes. And the third week is going to be for 3 minutes. Now, if you are an entry level or if you want to take it easier, which I encourage if this is at all intimidating, the process, I encourage you to go for 30 seconds, 1 minute, and 1.5 minutes. If you want to take it even a further step back, we can go 15 seconds for the first week, 30 seconds, and then 45 seconds. The idea is to get that foot wet, to be able to take that first step and to be able to really exercise that muscle when it comes to creating a new habit. As I said before, I'm no stranger to cold exposure, so I am going to be going for a minute for the first week and then carrying on. I hope this helps. I hope this inspires you to take some action, and I hope this encourages you to come along for the journey with me. Another thing I encourage you to do this when it's summertime. It's going to be easier that way. A lot of people out there will be like, oh, it's summer, there's no challenge in that. But I'll tell you right now, if it's too challenging at the beginning of the process, you're not going to get it done to begin with. So, get the first step done. That's all that's required. Enjoy. And just like that, we're done. If you are having a shower longer than 1 minute long, I would recommend finishing your shower on that last minute. If you can, don't put the hot water back on, but if you need to, just to warm up a little bit, do it. At least you've taken that first step and you've jumped in and you've had that shower. You've exposed yourself to cold water. If you, if you warm up a little bit afterwards, that's fine. If you want to do that for the first 3 days and then transition to having the cold shower at being the last chapter, that's probably a better option, but do you know what the best option is? Taking some kind of action. I thought I'd talk a little bit about some of the benefits associated with jumping into the cold shower. So, getting a cold shower in the morning really mirrors some of the benefits associated, similar to having a cup of coffee in the morning. I don't mind a little cheeky cup of coffee either, but what you do get is this amazing transition into the sympathetic nervous system. Well, it's similar to exposing yourself to natural sunlight. What it also does is increases your cortisol levels. This is a good thing, especially first thing in the morning. Bad thing is to not be able to control your cortisol levels. Cortisol is an amazing chemical that goes off into your body and allows you to be productive. So if you are able to turn on and off these chemicals by using your internal technology as well as some external tools like the cold shower, you, my friend, are in luck. If the idea of cold exposure is resonating with you, please hit that like button. And if you have any questions specifically about this journey, please don't be afraid to put them in the comments below. I will answer every single one of them. Day number 2 of the ice shower or cold shower challenge. A tip for you: if you are feeling a little bit inhibited or trepidatious about jumping into a shower just after you've woken up, why don't you try doing it just after you have trained? Your heart rate will be up, you'll be warmer. Are there limiting factors to having a cold shower after you train? Yes, there are, but they're so minute in comparison to the mental strength that you'll be gaining from doing this. The idea behind this challenge, this 5x21 challenge, is to, under any circumstances, get the job done. So yes, I could explain to you why it might be not such a great idea to jump into an ice bath or a shower after you train, but that's not what we're doing this for. We're doing this to establish a pattern, a habit that is going to serve you long into the future. That being said, let's go. So I mentioned this yesterday. If you wanted to, if you were feeling like you needed something a little bit warmer at the end of the shower, go ahead and stick on that warm water just to warm yourself up afterwards. What I would recommend is after the first 4 days, try to finish off on a cold component of the shower. There are lots of physiological benefits to that. Your body shivering to be able to warm itself up is a great deal of the physiological benefits associated with cold exposure. So if you can, do that. If you can't, don't matter none. Ready to dive in again for our second week of cold exposure. I thought I'd break down a little bit more of the science behind why some cold exposure is so important for our ability to be able to be healthy, happy, and thrive as individuals. So there's 3 reasons there are 3 pathways for the activation of brown fat that we discussed earlier on. The first one is the cold exposure actually activates something within your hypothalamus, within your brain, and then that sends a signal to your brown fat to activate. The second is the receptors in the skin being a direct conduit to the brown fat, so they activate the brown fat immediately. And then the next thing is the shivering of your muscles, and this is why it's an important factor for you to not put the heat on after at the end of a shower if you can, because the shivering is this mechanism that has evolved over time for us to be able to warm ourselves up, and the pathway of shivering to be able to warm ourselves up happens through activation of brown fat. So they're the 3 pathways that activate that brown fat and allows us to be able to do all the wonderful things that brown fat activation has allowed us to do. I just wanted to double down on the shivering aspect of this cold exposure challenge. Why we are finishing on cold, not on warm. Okay, I'll draw a parallel to going to the gym and going to tear your muscles down so they can then repair, adapt, and come back stronger. The exact same thing essentially is happening in parallel when it comes to finishing on cold and exposing yourself, hence eliciting a shivering response. This is the act of hormesis, which is allowing our body to adapt to a stimulus. So the stimulus in this situation is the cold. So you can handle a stimulus, but greater the next time. Thought it would be fun to measure my heart rate right now. It's at about 80, and I'm going to see what happens to it when I dive into a cold shower. So I'll be back with you in 2 minutes. Just came out of the shower. I was at 90 roughly heart rate when I stepped in, and I jacked up to about 119 when I was in that shower, which was a significant bump. Now, I'm no stranger to cold exposure, but it just goes to show how quickly your heart rate can jump when you are put into an environment like that. And that type of thing's such a powerful experience for the world that we live in, given that we really don't expose ourselves to much when it comes to adaptation and resilience in our environments nowadays. So that holds us in really good stead. Our bodies are designed to be able to continue to adapt and to be able to change and to be able to handle that type of change. Hence the form of resilience training that we're doing throughout this 5x21 series, which is pretty cool. Another great little benefit of cold exposure is an increase in metabolism. It's not an extreme bump in metabolism, but it is definitely a handy little plus to be able to give you access to burning fuel in your body at a more rapid rate whilst we are resting. So I hope you guys are enjoying the journey, and we will continue. So is week number 3, the beginning of, and I tried my first 3-minute shower, and I've got to tell you, I actually started with a hot shower and it felt kind of wrong. Sounds ridiculous, but I immediately turned it to cold and it felt so refreshing. Yes, it's hot outside, it's a particularly warm day, but there's something that really happens once you acclimatize yourself to cold exposure. You start to crave it. It's pretty cool. However, the 3-minute exposure I feel is just a little bit long. After 2 minutes, you've really acclimatized yourself to the cold shower. So I'm going to try and experiment, and I'm trying to think laterally. So stay tuned over the next couple of days as to what I feel I'm going to start adding into the mix for cold exposure. If you feel like you're struggling with your health and you need a little bit of assistance in being able to get to where you want to, please click on the link below in the description. I'd love to set up a completely complimentary chat with you, understand exactly where you're at, and if it's applicable, we can talk about working together and being able to achieve all of your health goals. It is week number 3. It's actually bang in the middle of week number 3. I think I've got about 4 more days of the cold exposure challenge. As I mentioned, I'm experienced in cold exposure. I spent time with Wim Hof many years ago, and ever since then, on and off, I've had ice baths. I've been exposed to many different forms of cold exposure, and I've loved it. Now, I love the idea behind cold showers, because they're convenient. Everybody has a shower. Not everyone has an ice bath, and it's a really pain in the ass to get an ice bath going, either set up initially and then to maintain it as well. So I thought about beefing up my ice shower, and this is what I come up with, okay? It's a bit backyard, and I don't even know if it's gonna work, but I think it might. I've got 2 ice trays right here, and I've got a laundry bag. Right now, I'm going to whack the ice into the laundry bag, so bear with me. All right, there it is. A bag full of ice tray with mesh. Next step, I'm going to be attaching it to my shower head and allowing the water to flow down and through the ice so it cools me up as it heats me. Theoretically, unbelievably well. Let's see if the effect of the cold water through the ice onto me has a powerful change. The whole reason behind this was to do 2 minutes, but of colder exposure than you can possibly get with just water coming through your tap. 2 minutes starting now. Holy moly. I would say that shit works. That is significantly colder than the water coming out of the tap. Lasted for about 45 seconds, a minute, the ice itself. So that was 2 trays of ice. I reckon you need probably twice as much of that to get a full 2-minute experience, but that worked. That was cold, like significantly colder than a cold shower. So if you're after that extra edge to be able to get that little bit extra oomph out of your shower experience, shit works. I hope you enjoyed my account of cold showers over a 21-day period. There was a lot of hard science there to back up the benefits of this cold exposure. And if you want to be able to jump in and do this, remember, do it slowly, consistently, and you'll be able to get the benefits. Also, try the trick when it came to adding that ice to the shower. That was absolutely a killer. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Oh, and if you'd like to see an interview that I conducted with the great man Wim Hof himself, please click on the link below. It will go straight through to a podcast I did with him. He's an inspiring man, and I know he changed my life, and I know he'll change yours.